Relationships is a popular topic for Polar Warriors. It's popular in my videos, in the comments, in the coaching calls I do, and it's really important in my personal life. I always get really excited when I learn a new technique or find a way to make a great relationship even better. One of our viewers, Jennifer Clark, suggested something in the comments today that I thought was brilliant. Quote, "Another suggestion is starting a couples journal. It helps a lot with feeling heard and understanding how each other feels. Great tool for communication with people who have a hard time verbalizing when manic. I can somehow find words with a pen, but not my mouth. And sometimes as I'm writing, I realize how ridiculous I'm being." End quote. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining the conversation and sharing something that works for you. That's the essence of the Polar Warrior community, sharing what works. I'm super grateful to have viewers like you. Now, I've done journaling most of my life, but it's always been a very private endeavor. I literally bought my first journal in 3rd grade and had a hell of a time hiding it from my little brother. I have that weathered green journal around here somewhere. It even has this tiny key to keep secrets inside, like the date of my very first kiss. I also journaled a lot in my early 20s and during my karate teaching days. I had some pretty fancy journals given to me by students, so of course I had to use them. The whole time, I never thought once about including my partner in them. I always fantasized about my partner reading them someday, like when I'm gone or something. But why wait? Why leave so many questions and memories unexplored, unanswered? With the whole tomorrow isn't guaranteed thing, I think it's a wonderful idea to journal as a couple. Of course, you can still have your own private journal too. Nothing wrong with that. I did some poking around online and landed on a wonderful article from this year that talks about 10 ideas for keeping a couple's journal. It was posted to a journaling supply website by Jessica Huffman, and I think it will be valuable to share with the channel. I also found and ordered the neatest book on Amazon called A Year of Us, One Question a Day to Spark Fun and Meaningful Conversations. Before I jump into our 10 tips, please know that I'm not affiliated with, sell, or endorse or represent any product mentioned in this video. I'm simply sharing some cool resources that I found. Let's get to it. Number 1, write letters to each other. I'm not talking about a 10-pager every day. Make it easy. Work on the letter when you're inspired to do so. A letter can be just a page. The time it takes you to write the letter is a small period of time where you'll ideally be mindful. Writing can be a slow-down filter between your brain and manic thoughts. If you're artistic, maybe you have a variety of colored pens to increase the level of mindfulness. Want to take it to the next level? Take one slow, deep, in through the nose, out through the mouth breath after each sentence you write in the journal. If you want your partner to know that you've written to them, maybe have a special place that you put it or a certain way it's facing up or upside down based on who's written in it. Tip number 2, share one small or big memory, some kind of story from the past. I remember the weirdest things at the weirdest moments sometimes, and then it's gone from my mind. If you're sitting there watching a show and remember the traumatic time you farted during a history final exam on hard plastic reverberating seats, causing heads to spin faster than Linda Blair in The Exorcist, write it down. I like sharing memories from my childhood, both good and bad, because it provides my partner with insight into the person I am today. Sharing memories has been one of the sweetest parts of my relationship. Moving on to tip number 3. Every once in a while, come up with some kind of challenge for each other. It could be to learn something new, cook something new, or go somewhere new. Maybe challenge your partner to learn to say I love you in some obscure foreign language. Challenge your partner to try nailing a recipe from your favorite local restaurant. You can even just drive down a new street in the town you've lived for years. Keep the challenges easy and doable so you don't set your partner up for disappointment. Tip number 4, Cultivating gratitude towards each other is a wonderful way to make the relationship more harmonious. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for about your partner, or maybe give them 3 compliments. This is a great one to do regularly. It's easy, or at least it should be, and it creates a certain warmth in the relationship. Remember to be totally sincere with your compliments and take your time coming up with them. It'll be worth it. We've made it to the halfway point. Tip number 5. Reflect on the past day or two and write down something that brought you joy. Did you start a new amazing book? Did your friend tell you a funny joke? Did something happen at work that made you feel good? How about that latest Polar Warrior video you watched? You can learn a lot about each other by knowing what excites and engages each other. If you want to take this to the next level, take a picture of something inspiring that you saw, print it out, and put it in the journal with a couple of notes. Tip number 6, write down something that scares or used to scare you. I'm scared to death of drowning because of a bad childhood experience. I used to be scared to watch movies with aliens in them. I can't stand ants crawling on me. The list goes on, and they all have stories behind them. Sharing something that scares you shows vulnerability, and you'd be surprised what you might learn about your partner. Tip number 7, do bucket list entries. Write down something that's important for you to do in this lifetime. Have you always wanted to skydive? Hell no? Okay. What about seeing the Grand Canyon or the Mona Lisa in person? I've always wanted to see the Declaration of Independence, but haven't gotten there yet. Having your partner accomplish something from their, quote, bucket list is a big deal. It's also an amazing way to grow closer. This is an opportunity to turn some dreams into plans, so go for it. Journaling tip number 8. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can buy a book specifically meant for this stuff. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, my partner and I found the coolest book called A Year of Us on Amazon. If you search Amazon for couples journal, there are many books with hundreds of questions designed to bring you closer. For less than 20 bucks, you can get a tool that will take this whole experience to the next level. Tip number 9, add Momentos. Throw a dinner or movie receipt in there. Maybe a 4-leaf clover you found together. How about a poem you found or a fortune cookie message you resonate with? Keep a section or even an envelope in the back of the journal with little reminders of the things you've done together that year. Like I mentioned earlier, printing out photos of special moments is a great addition to this tip. We've navigated all the way to tip number 10. This last one is going to be like my final notes on the topic. These things are important, but not specifically related to journal topics. Make your journal accessible. I suggest putting it in plain sight, like on the dresser or even the kitchen table. If it's out of sight, it'll be out of mind and easy to forget. Consider using different colored pens to differentiate between who's writing in it. If it's your very first couples journal, I highly recommend buying a journal specifically designed for couples. The prompts help a lot. Seasoned journalists can move on to blank journals later. The last thing I'll say is to be patient, loving, and respectful of your partner's participation in this. Some people just aren't journal people, and that's totally okay. Give it a try. If your partner isn't into writing in it, you can still participate yourself and then share what you write with your partner. That's all I've got for today, warriors. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. This video was a little different from my usual bipolar disorder repertoire, but I really enjoyed doing the research for it. I've mentioned how those of us with bipolar are often the hardest on our partners. Because of that, relationships are actually one of the most requested topics I get, especially in my one-on-one communication with fellow polar warriors. Speaking of one-on-one communication, if you ever want to contact me directly, there is always a link in the video description where I can be reached. Take extra good care, and I'll be back here soon with more Polar Warrior videos. Stay well.